How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout, and this will be my final message to the XRP army of 2018. Now listen, I'm a fan of virtually all cryptocurrencies in terms of, I'll give them all a day in the sun. I'll basically do my research because you never know what you're going to get with a cryptocurrency. It's like a box of chocolates, and the fact of the matter is when, I'm always going to be a fan of Bitcoin. It's always going to have a special place in my heart, but the way things are going, I can definitely see fundamental power growing in the form of Ripple XRP. And when we see, American Express, all these banks culminating together, it's definitely interesting to see, the establishment has made a very fundamental decision as far as, an indication has been sent. And I think that when, we're looking forward to seeing, the different prospects that XRP can make available, and it is very, very critical to pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, especially at this time. Now we're going to cut the bullshit and get right down to it. Nobody is going to be able to tell you from their ass, from their elbow, whether or not anything is going to happen in cryptocurrency. It's, especially the people who claim to be experts on this thing. I think, it's important to do analysis and listen to everybody's opinions because, basically all you can do is take a case study of conglomerates of all these different opinions, and I'll read every comment and pretty much and analyze as much perspective as I can. And it seems as if when we look at international companies, the moves that are being made and following the money, all roads seem to lead to XRP. Whether this is good news for you or bad news, I don't think money cares about your feelings. The fact of the matter is, XRP is going to posit a very fundamental shift in the narrative of what we can expect to see for cryptocurrency in 2019. So this is a pretty good video. I think it'll serve as a wake-up call for a lot of people. XRP represents a fundamental power, really a powerhouse in the cryptocurrency space, and I think this video will do justice into evaluating what we're seeing unfolding right now, as we turn the year over to 2019 and what we can expect to see. Right now we have all the people coming out with their all these predictions. It's always fun to see people talking about the $50,000 Bitcoin, the $10 XRP, but I think it's important to get realistic here for a second, so this video is going to speak to that. So people, I'm waiting to see the great purge of the altcoins. Let's face it, the fact of the matter is, if it's not necessary, it's going to be thrown by the wayside. We're going to see a consolidation of all the money that's been going into all these shit altcoins. The age of thousands of altcoins, I personally think, is soon going to come to an end, and it is very possible to see plenty of these technologies easily going to zero. So the question remains, what are going to be the cryptos that are actually going to be able to stand up, and fight the good fight moving forward? And I think there's no question in anybody's mind that XRP is one of them. So personally, XRP has my attention just on that note. But then you actually look, at the data analytical perspective of these things, and XRP certainly does stand out from the herd, in more ways than one. And quite the year it has been for XRP in this amount of time. It's pretty exciting to see. XRP has pretty much had probably one of the most noteworthy years out of all the different cryptocurrencies on here, firmly establishing itself in the #2 position. I think XRP has done a lot. They've done a great deal, in particular with this market. It's been a very testing time overall for the reputation of stuff like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The old legacy cryptocurrencies have certainly taken a hit from the all-time highs that they were seeing last year, but I think also seeing a lot of these variables happening and unfolding, pretty much purging out a lot of the bad actors and useless ICOs and all these different things is pretty good for the cryptocurrency community at large, I would say. And we don't want to go forward with a contaminated contaminated, muddied waters. And I think last year when we were seeing Bitcoin at its all-time highs, there were plenty of bad actors who have been pretty much flushed down the toilet at this point. Not to say that there's not going to be there's some controversy ahead. I can expect to see pretty much nothing but turmoil in store for cryptocurrency. My theory, and I'm going to stick to this, is that things are going to get worse before they get better. I'm of the school of thought that we haven't seen the bottom yet. I think the bottom for Bitcoin will probably be somewhere around the $2,000 price range. And of course, you could do the math for where that will lead the rest of the cryptos. And it sort of ties into my belief system that pretty much I have a theory that we're going to see a lot of altcoins getting completely wiped off the map. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your best friend's favorite altcoin will probably go to zero before we see a lot of these other cryptocurrencies finally have their day in the sun. Before mass adoption finally happens, we can certainly expect to see. The fact of the matter is that the establishment, well, they're going to want to buy in at the lowest prices possible, which is going to mean nudging a lot of the lower class investors, so to speak, in the context of the whales, are going to want to get as big as possible before we see the influx of Bitcoin. Now, this could happen in 2019, or it could be pushed back. It could happen in 2020. It's anybody's guess. But one thing is for sure, I'm going to hang my hat on XRP for a second here. Pretty sure XRP is here to stay. What we see happening, I mean, it's always interesting to see, Captain Altcoin, like this sort of news article talking, Ripple forecast for 2019 is below $1 XRP, more realistic than $20 per XRP. Sort of a hint of optimism, in the XRP community, and you have to give hats off to the XRP army for winning, the hashtag award. The XRP army is very active on as far as having their points heard. I mean, every time we do a poll, Ripple pretty much takes away 50% of the votes, and out of about 1,000 people voting for poll, it's kind of been funny to see. I mean, 48% going, and then 58% going to XRP in some cases, as low as 40%. Always XRP winning, and it's actually gotten to the point where people have commented saying that I should stop including XRP in these votes because the XRP army is basically always has their point heard, and when we put XRP on the list, it gets an exponential amount of votes going for it. Now, it's just an interesting indication of the power that the community has, and I wouldn't never underestimate the influence that the community can have in having their voices heard. And I think that all this is coming at a very interesting time in the overall context of what we've been seeing as far as the shift in narrative that we've been seeing hints of from a lot of different mainstream articles. It seems as if now Wall Street is coming to, and they definitely have their eye on Ripple XRP. Now, and of course, we've seen Bill Gates before in the news just sort of shitting on Bitcoin as an investment, but that's sort of the difference between talk and basically the number one form of communication, which is capital. I basically think that it's more important to follow the money than it is to basically, I mean, when we see numbers like 182 million, digital asset investor certainly credited here with this interesting video, talking about 182.5 million reasons why XRP is the people's choice. And when we see Wall Street, I mean, they're not going to play around. When they finally make to move on something, it's going to be all across the board, whether you know it or not. I mean, cryptocurrency is knocking on our doors, and I think that Ripple is definitely going to be a key indication of what the establishment seeks to align themselves behind. Whether you're an XRP fan or a Stellar XLM fan, I mean, it is interesting to see that the banks have certainly made a significant ruling on what they're going to be moving for heretofore. So whether you think XRP is going to be worth $1, or you think it's going to be worth $3, whether you think it's going to be worth 500, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is going to be the last video on XRP for 2018. And I hope that you guys have had a good year. Hopefully you guys survive the New Year's sell-off, and all the all different things that are going to happen. Just year anniversary events in the world of crypto that we got to deal with. But yeah, remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. This video is not financial advice. Obviously, I'm not your dad. If you need advice, go ask your biological father, not your YouTube father. But yeah, all that being said, I have a fundamentally good opinion on XRP moving forward. I could expect to see some good things. I'm personally, my opinion, I'm filling my bags. And I like to see the community active. Never underestimate the power of the community. I mean, it made this channel what it is to this day. But yeah, all that being said, if you guys want to connect with us, make sure that you comment down below, letting us know what you think. Yeah, and if you guys want, you could reach out to us on Twitter as well. That's at CryptoTuber. And all that being said, I hope you guys have had a good day, and Happy New Year.